Hello everyone and welcome back to Timetable 5. Today we are checking out what is possibly one of the most anticipated and hyped freeware mods ever released for Train Sim World. This is by On Track Simulation and it is their first Train Sim World mod. If you don't know On Track Simulation, they made a lot of freeware mods for Train Simulator Classic back in the day. Route merges, scenarios, things like that. But this is, as I said, first Train Sim World product. This is a winter 2019 timetable for the West Coast Mainline South Euston to Milton Keynes route, which is one of the base routes for Train Sim World 5. This is a very impressive mod. Like, let me just say this right now. This is probably one of the best mods that's ever been released. So yeah, we're in the manual because I wanted to take a quick look over the manual before we get started with it. So as you can see, yes, look at that. We can now play around with Virgin Trains Pendolinos. Because at the time this timetable is set, Virgin Trains hadn't gone bankrupt yet, and Avanti West Coast was not a thing. The route hasn't, in real life, the West Coast Mainline hasn't really changed from November 2019, when this timetable is set, to 2024, when the route itself is set. So, yeah, this mod works extremely well. This timetable replicates the working timetables between Euston and Milton Keynes Central and associated yards and branches as it was on the 26th of November 2019. Just read that. One thing also, they have also added a couple of rail tours that were not present in November 2019. So, yeah. So it's not 100% accurate, but I personally could not care less. I like the rail tours. So, content. So, how to install. Go to where you've downloaded this pack. You can download it off of the Train Sim community website. Launch. Choose the route. Choose the Milton Keynes. Go to the timetable. Winter 2019. And there we go. I will go over this in a minute. So yeah. So they've been crafted using the 2019 working timetable for the area, as well as carriage working notices and diagrams to ensure every service you see runs exactly as it should have done on the day, with the correct number of carriages and with the correct type of train. Some very minor alterations have been made due to gameplay and or route limitations, as well as the addition of some services that didn't run in November 2019 to offer a improved range of services. So here's one of the diagrams that they used. Nice. So let's see. Following pages detail what drivable services are included. Fully complete LNWR Class 350 Desiro timetable inclusive at the St. Albans Abbey branch, which is AI only, with 307 drivable services, 59 drivable 12-car services, 150 8-car services, and 98 4-car services. So yeah, there is the LNWR Class 350 sporting the old LNWR operated by West Midlands Trains livery. Also, running around, you can also see the LNWR Class 350 in the modern livery that comes with the route. Also, bear in mind that it is highly recommended that you install the West Coast Mainline South Enhancement Pack and 2024 timetable made by Fox, also on the Train Sim community website, which is also another superb mod. So yeah, here's picture Milton Keynes Central. Alright, Virgin Trains. A fully complete Virgin Trains Class 390 Pendolino timetable with 177 drivable services, 81 drivable 11-car services, and 96 drivable 9-car services. So here we go. Here are all the basic service pattern. Please note that the 9-car 390 sets covered the services that would have been operated by a Class 221 Meridian, As such, due to book detach moves that used in a small number of fictional ECS services have been written into the timetable to enable the respective passenger services to run, since we don't have a Class 221 in the game at the time of recording, which is very annoying because I really want to see a Voyager and a Meridian in the game. I know we have like the absolutely excellent Just Trains Voyager Advanced or Trains Whom Classic and things like that, but we need one in TSW because the lack of one of these trains, the Class 220, 221, 222, just is really beginning to get on my nerves. These are as follows and are all drivable from Milton Keynes. Full list. Fully complete Southern Class 377/2 timetable with 46 drivable services. In the era of this timetable, Southern were still operating trains all the way up to Milton Keynes. At peak times, the service increases to half-hourly with the addition of services that travel as far as Watford Junction. In the modern day, services terminate at Watford Junction only. No services continue on to Milton Keynes these days. The basic pattern of drivable services is here. Is this thing. London Underground Baker. Also, I should have been pointing out that all of these services that I've been pointing out so far require the West Coast Mainline South route in order to show up. But for the Pendolino services to show up, you require the Pendolino itself, which is a separate DLC. London Underground Bakerloo line, which is the 1972 tube stock you get with the route. A fully complete Bakerloo line timetable with 761 drivable services, including sleep trains, Queen's Park shunts, and a small number of other empty moves to Kilburn High Road. Here are the patterns that you can do. London Overground. A fully complete London Overground Lioness line or Watford DC timetable with 177 drivable services. Included in this are 107 drivable Class 378 Capital Star services, which you require the London Overground Mildmay line by Incredible Trains for. Bear in mind, I do not have the Mildmay line, nor do I have any intention of getting the Mildmay line, so those will not show up. 70 drivable Class 710 services, which you require the Goblin Suffragette line. And then there are early morning and late evening empty moves to or from the Mildmay and Suffragette lines. And then here's the service pattern. And then there are also 7 test train services using the Class 710, which are all of these. The East Anglian Rail Tour. 2 drivable rail tour services replicating the East Anglian from March 16th, 2022. Which these 2 services, the East Anglian, in order to show up, requires the Just Trains' West Coast Mainline Preston to Carlisle route, because the East Anglia Rail Tour is operated by a Class 87 with a rake of Mark 3A coaches. So yeah, here we go. Here's the 87. Then you also, if you have the West Coast Mainline Enhancement Pack installed, you get the new measurement train. Bear in mind, that also requires the Great Western Express route to show up. So in order for this to show up, let me just repeat, you require Great Western Express and the West Coast Mainline South Enhancement Pack, which have true drivable services. Then also the Railhead Treatment Train, which requires the Railhead Treatment Train add-on, which was originally a DLC for the Southeastern High Speed route, which has 6 services, as you can see. Then we've also got Intermodal Freight, a fully complete intermodal freight timetable based on those that ran on the day with 38 drivable services, 27 Freightliner services, 6 Great British Rail Freight services, 1 DRS service, 2 Freightliner light locomotives, and 2 empty car carrier services, 1 DB Cargo, 1 GBRF. And I know what you're thinking, Freightliner and GBRF, those are not included in the game. Well, included in the mod is a pack of reskins for the Railhead Treatment Train 66 that turns it into the Freightliner and GBRF 66. Then we've also got aggregates, which requires the aggregate what is it? The aggregate gameplay pack for West Coast Mainline South, which has 14 drivable services, 4 Freightliner services, 1 Great GBRF services, 4 DB cargo service, and 3 run-round/shunting moves with multiple parts. Bear in mind, I do not have that gameplay pack, so that won't show up. There's one of the Freightliner 66s. Looks pretty good. Also, we also get AI-only services. This is either because the section of the route the layer corresponds to is very short, the mile-by line at Willesden Junction High Level, for example, or because the service is not scheduled to stop anywhere along the route. Subversion train services to Glasgow and Manchester, for example. Empty service. So these are LNWR services, so these are with the 350. I won't list them all now. Virgin Trains, we've got some of those. Bakerloo Line, London Overground. Please note AI empty moves to and from Wembley sidings, Wilson Depot, Wilson Junction are also included, but are too numerous to list. Okay. Oh, looks as though the Class 801 from the Peterborough to Doncaster route layers in for AI. Rail Operations Group, ROG. That's the Class 37 ROG. That uses the Class 37 ROG. That is, that requires the Southeastern High Speed route and the Class 37 ROG DLC. Intermodal freight, other freight, more intermodal freight, other freight. Current known issues. Although no stone has been left unturned to ensure the timetable runs as smoothly as possible for all users, there are still some bugs or known limitations which at time of writing we don't have a fix for. If anyone knows of a proven fix for any of these issues listed, please get in touch with them. Services which terminate at Euston and couple to another service show their penultimate stop on all forms of the passenger information screen. Requirements and layers, this is quite extensive, so I won't list all of that now. I think I've been listing this, I've been going along really. Future plans. Current plans for future updates include the following: replacing default intermodal wagons with those from Cargo Line Volume 3 when Volume 3 is released, which will be on May 1st, British time. Yeah. Current aspiration for future updates includes the following: addition of other reskins, such as the Class 390 Flowing Silk Pride and other 350 variations, and the addition of Caledonian Sleeper services, which will presumably give us more stuff to do with the Class 87. And then here are the credits. All of these chaps. By the way, Thomas Harrison. He's TrainSim TV on YouTube and Twitch, so go check him out. And then here's the change log. This is a pre-release version of the manual. So yeah, let's go and load into our service. And welcome to Milton Keynes Central, where our mighty Class 390 Pendolino is waiting for us. I've been wanting to try out the Virgin livery on the Pendolino for ages, and this old flowing silk livery makes it look really good. There's also, most of the Pendolinos actually sport this rather odd, just like completely blank grey livery with not even any branding on it, and I don't really know why that's a thing. But anyway, see if I can find any other trains about. Alright, so as you can see, here's a 350 formation. So on the back, we have the modern 350 livery complete. Having the camera zoomed in like this is probably a bad idea. Complete with branding. And then on the front, we have the old operated by West Midlands Trains livery, which, man, This I definitely prefer this old livery, I think, to the modern one. I mean, the modern one's cool, but this old 350 livery, it just looks a bit more classy. Anyway, enough waffle. Let's get started. So, master key on reverser, forward, brakes to minimum. Let's get the, oh goodness, headlights on. Okay, that's the tilting system and everything. Just warming itself up. Also, I should probably point out that, excuse me, that I have sound mods going for pretty much all of the trains on this route, except for the new measurement train, the 87 and the 66. Also, these sound mods are off of the Train Sim Community website. So what is our stopping pattern for today? We have to leave at 14:51, stop at signal Whiskey Mike 102, and wait for a moment, and then we will pull into Euston. It's in about 35 minutes from now. Direct run. I believe some Pendolinos do stop at Watford Junction, but not that many. Most of them go directly. I must say, the Pendolino does look really good. It's certainly a variation from the modern Avanti West Coast stuff, which, mind you, I don't mind the Avanti West Coast livery, but I think there's something about the old Virgin livery. Like, look at the detail on the waves of that Virgin flag. I mean, yeah, the old Virgin livery just looks far more classy than the modern Avanti stuff. But yeah, the Avanti liveries still look good, but not on this level, I think. Right, it's time to lock the doors. By the way, we are running service 1 Alpha 37, if you didn't know. Alright. 44 miles to signal Whiskey Mike 102. It's been a bit since I've been in the Pendolino. Well, on the channel, anyway. Alright, let's get moving. Yeah, all safety systems are online. Train is accelerating normally. Is that... oh, that's the crew to Euston 9 Whiskey 16 just pulled in to Milton Keynes just as we were leaving. So, yeah, this screen does actually work, to be fair. Oh, 350 coming in. I wonder what surface that was. It all says the Euston crew 9 Kilo 28. One thing I do like about the Pendolino is A, it has guard mode enabled. B, it has dynamic suspension. What? It's actually quite amazing. It's actually quite amazing to see how far the West Coast Mainline South route has come. When it was released, it was probably one of the worst British default routes we've had in a while, excepting Peterborough to Doncaster, of course. That I don't think anything can ever equal that as the worst default UK route. Anyway, when West Coast Mainline South came out, it was pretty atrocious. The scenery was not that good. We didn't even have a complete timetable of services for the for the Class 710 Aventra for the overground services and the 1972 tube stock for the underground services. But since then, Dovetail's implemented a bunch of patches which have improved the scenery, improved the performance, added the missing underground and overground services back in, thanks to some help from Fox, who is one of the chaps who helped make the West Coast Mainline South Enhancement Pack, and not one, not two, but three superb mods of release. Ooh, 377, nice. The first one was the West Coast Mainline South Enhancement Pack itself. The other was the timetable that came with the enhancement pack, and then on-track simulation with their timetable, which we are just now checking out. And I must say, I was initially seriously unimpressed by West Coast Mainline South. But now, since the patches and all of these mods which have come out, I'm seriously enjoying this route. I also can't wait until the Caledonian Sleeper services get added to this timetable, because that's something which is missing in the even with other routes as well. Like, for example, the sleeper services on Preston to Carlisle are done with the Mark III services because, well, we don't have any sleeper coaches in the game. Okay, get ready to hit the speed set button. There we go. That'll keep our speed. One thing I do have to complain about with the Pendolino is that's probably one of the most swirly horns I've heard. I mean, when you're at low speed or you're stationary, the horn is not bad. When you're at high speeds, it just sounds pretty atrocious. Another Pendolino. This route, despite all its flaws, it feels like genuinely busy. It feels alive. And, yeah. But I think there is one major thing about West Coast Mainline South which definitely is causes problems for me. The decision to cut the route coverage off at Milton Keynes, central of all places. It just makes the route far too short. You could... The Pendolino runs out of track. The Pendolino runs out of track after just half an hour, while even the Class 350, the maximum service time is only an hour, which is absolutely disgraceful, really. Because the Dovetail could have easily extended this route up to Rugby or even Birmingham New Street. We could have, if we had gotten this route up to Birmingham New Street like it is at Train Sim Classic, we could have gotten had a new route hub. Oh, there's a 66 that just went by. Wonder what service that was. We could have had the Felixstowe to Ditton. We could have had this route then link up with the Birmingham Cross City route, which is I just wish that Birmingham Cross City had Pendolino and 350 AI traffic at Birmingham New Street, because that never got added, which is absolutely disgraceful. All we got was guard mode for the Class 323. And I mean, if you want to do a longer Pendolino run, if you have the Preston to Carlisle route, you can run the Pendolino on that. But then you can't run the Pendolino at 125 miles an hour. You can only run it at 110 because non-tilting, because in the time period that Preston to Carlisle is set in, 1986, tilting trains weren't a thing then, except for the APT, Advanced Passenger Train concept, which was still running at the time. That could do 125 miles an hour on that route, but the normal trains, like the 87 and the 390, if you just put the 390 there and free run, it's restricted to 110 miles an hour, which is annoying, but if you're willing to accept the compromise, then you can have a far longer Pendolino run. What was that station we just got through? Cheddington. I must admit, it is pretty satisfying running the Pendolino. Like, to give Dovetail credit, a lot of people were seriously underwhelmed by West Coast Mainline South. But one of the things which is not underwhelming is the train modeling. Like, the 350 is really decent, and the Pendolino is even better. I love driving this thing. What surprises me a bit is that even on 125 mile an hour routes, is that a... Oh, okay. Oh, come on! At least he didn't lose too much speed. I thought we were stuck behind someone. Maybe we are stuck behind someone. Let's see if there's any trains up ahead. Okay, there is someone on our track. It is the Rugley to Euston. Oh no, that means it's a class 350. He's limited to 110 miles an hour because he's in a Desire and he's not in a Pendolino. Oh no, that means I am ever so slowly catching up to him. That is not good at all. What is that? 350? Nice. That's not good. Oh, Bush Sim World. Oh, and I can't catch up using drone camera. Most of the Pendolino services are using that boring grey livery, but yeah. I can't wait for the other 390 Virgin Silk variations to show up. That'd be awesome. Ooh, 66 GBRF. With hauling intermodal containers. He seems to be stuck behind that 350. Shame. Is that Bletchley? No. Tring. Alright. In order to avoid catching up any further, I'm restricting us to 110 miles an hour. So that means we don't just come up right behind him and then just have to slam on the brakes. He's going at a fair clip. So yeah. I know we're going slower, but this is to prevent us just zooming up behind him and then having to slam on the brakes for a red signal. Hopefully, he should keep. Ooh. Hopefully, he should keep moving out of range. Oh no! Right, brakes. Oh, hello. Yeah, there we go. Trouble is, this far out from London, signals are placed pretty far apart. So, So if I do get behind him, that means it takes him a while to get past signals. This is annoying, but nothing I can't handle. Speed set online. Just means I'll have my AWS going off constantly. One thing that I also have to point out with the buildings is, and this is a complaint with Dovetail, not the mod developer, the developers, plural, I should say. A lot of the building assets are like look extremely outdated. Like look at those ones on the right. I've seen those on like some very old routes. Come on. Yeah, I seem to be sticky about 2 or 3 signals behind this guy. Let's see. $350. Just really hope he doesn't like stop at Watford Junction or something, because if he does, I'll have to stop completely. Yeah, okay, he's moving at 110, which means I'm sticking a good distance behind him. $20 to the signal, which we have to stop at. Wonder what the wrong button. That's the button. Wonder what this the used to tring. Okay, we do have an 110 limit coming in pretty soon, so hopefully, so that means we're already down at the limit. Okay, our buddy is not stopping at Watford Junction. That's good. That's always a good thing. Well, yeah. If he's not stopping at Watford Junction, there's no reason to assume that he would stop at Harrow and Wealdstone. longest tunnel on the route. Here we go. Oof, that's bright. Okay. Well, you can't see much in that view. 15 miles to run. Whoa. I assume that stutter was all the stuff at Watford Junction loading in. There's nothing at the London Overground platforms. Right. Slow lines rejoining. .350. Wow, some quite significant stuttering, I must say. There's the Watford DC line. Wow, that's quite the tilt going on. You know the Avanti Class 805 IETs? Nope, there we go, okay. The Class 805s, as I was saying. Why do they have tilting? Because if so, they'll be limited to 110 miles an hour on this route. Here's where the really busy part of the route begins, because you now have the London Overground stuff and the Underground stuff beginning to join up as well. So what time do we have to wait? If I arrived at the signal right now, I'd have to wait for the next 11 minutes in order to be given clearance. What? At least we're still 12 miles out. Oh, hello. Is that a 710 I see? Yeah. The reason the Watford DC line feels less busy is because most of the services are made up of Class 378 Capital Stars, but I haven't got the 378. So that's why the Watford DC line feels less busy than it should be. I don't want the 378 because the mild May line is, well, it's not the best route in the world. Hopefully the extension to Richmond should improve the route, but for now it's not worth my time at all. Maybe if it goes on a hefty sale, I'll get it, because I do want to try out the Class 378, but other than that, nah. Okay, here, next station is actually Harrow and Wealdstone, so that's where the Bakerloo line begins. Next station, I mean, the next station on the line, not the next station we're stopping at. $10 miles to the signal. Alright, there's the head shunt at the top of the Bakerloo line, with a 72 stop coming in. Oh, 72 stock. See ya later, mate. I can't believe those 72 stocks are the oldest commercially running trains in Britain. That's insane. Hopefully I'm not holding anyone up by only going 110. Nah, doesn't look like it. Whoa. Okay, that's... AWS is really trigger happy today, I must say. Feels really weird to be going on this section of line and not on the Bakerloo line, because this section of track is really used for the old Bakerloo line, Adam, which is one of the Trades of World 2 core routes. Back then, the West Coast Main Line didn't have any AI traffic whatsoever, except for a few 66 runs that layered in from Great Western Express, I think it was. But now, yeah, it feels a lot busier. Another complaint I do have about West Coast Mainline South is there are no services for the 1938 tube stock like there are on the Bakerloo line, which feels like a bit of a missed opportunity, because you can only use the 1938 stock in timetable mode on the on the old Bakerloo line, Adam, which is obviously well out of date by this time. So where is this signal? Okay, so it's just before Euston. Wonder why. How much farther to Queen's Park? Okay, quite a bit further. That's where the underground line, Bakerloo line, peels off and goes underground to head to Elephant Castle. Oh, we just went through Wembley Central. Oh, hello. There's a container train off to our left. Over here is the massive yard at Wembley. Absolute gigantic. And you can tell my frame rate is suffering. That is 8 frames per second. 9 frames per second. That is literally the lowest frame rate I've ever had in this game. And I've seen some low frames before. Quick, let's get out of here. I think there's too much there's way too many trains in this area. Oh my goodness. Now, 8 frames per second is literally the worst performance I've ever had on this route. And that's really saying something. Not on this route, in the game, I should say. Five and a half miles. Yeah, you can really tell that my computer is suffering. Oh man, I really need to get an upgraded computer, don't I? Like this whole yard complex in the Wembley area is just an absolute frame hogger. Alright, let's slow down to 105. Yeah. There's a 710. Whoa, the whole train just shook from side to side going over those points. Oh, that felt weird. Okay, we do have an 80 limit coming in, so I'm going to start slowing down now. Notch 3 of brakes. Tunnel. Three and a half miles to run to the signal. Here's where, yeah, around Euston is where the route will really start to get laggy. Coming up on Queen's Park, where the Bakerloo line will diverge and head off to Elephant and Castle, as stated previously. There's the Queen's Park sheds for the underground stock. Dovetail also missed a trick by not including the St. Albans Abbey branch in this route. Right, there goes the Bakerloo line. Alright, we do have a 55 limit coming in soon. 2.5 miles to run. Let's start slowing down now. Better safe than sorry. Yeah, okay. If we arrived at the signal right now, we'd have 4 minutes to wait, so... Okay, don't... Respond to AWS. AWS, respond when I press Q, please. There's the Watford DC line. I call it, I know Transport for London refers to that as the Lioness line. I refer to it as the Watford DC line because that's what it is. It goes to Watford and it's powered by Third Rail, so yeah. Another tunnel. One and a half miles to run to our signal. Okay. Need to turn cab light on so I can actually see the button I need to press. Oh, 350 just went by. Just over a mile to go. I must say this. I know the horn isn't affected, but this sound mod by Itzia165 for the 390 does sound really good. Also, much better sounds than what Dovetail have, because what they got basically meant that they weren't able to do any train runs with the in the Pendolino, so all they were able to get is what was it? They were able to get a few sounds like the horn, and the rest they just synthesized. So yeah, it's very nice to have proper sounds. Oh my goodness, my frame rate. That is, I just saw 4 frames a second. Oh, look at all of this lot parked over here. No wonder my frame rate's going through the floor. Oh my goodness, that is some serious lag. I really need to get a better computer. With these timetable mods, the only way to go is going to be up, so I imagine they'll become ever more performance intensive as life goes on. Alright, shush. 900 yards to go. Let's start slowing down very gradually. We have just over a minute to wait. Yeah, that route hop marker that you can go to other routes, like other London terminating routes like Great Western Express at Paddington, places like that. Switch off the cab light, we don't need that anymore. Ah, that's blinding. You have to wait until 30 seconds, 15, 21 and 30 seconds. Yeah. There's HS2, or what will be HS2 if it ever gets extended through to Houston. HS2, oh man, HS2, I could rant about that for ages. There are entire videos on the internet where you could find rants about HS2. And I think we arrived right on time, 20 seconds to go. Stop a bit early, why not? Actually, no. We nailed the stop pretty nicely, actually. We gotta wait for 10 seconds, and then we can and then presumably we'll get the clearance to go to Houston. So what is this service? The Houston to Manchester. Wait, what? It went past the time. What? Oh no, I really hope this service isn't bugged. No route available. Maybe we have to wait for a train to get a specific train to leave. Oh wait, there we go. Yes. Okay, that's good. All right, we have clearance to go to Houston, and we have a speed limit of 25 miles an hour kicking in. Right, 900 yards to Houston. Excuse me. Where are the Watford DC line tracks? Oh, we had to wait for the Euston to Manchester service to pass. That's why. Oh, darn it. Yeah, this is where the frames are really starting to start dropping. 14 frames a second. Alright, we have 2.5 minutes to do 500 yards. I think that's going to be well within our capabilities. We're actually going up to the very far side of the station, platform 16. Impressive. I don't think I've actually been to one of these platforms in the game before. I've been normally to one of the central platforms, like over there. Alright, coming into Houston on time. That's what I'm talking about. There's our stop. Oh goodness. Oh, my frame rate. Ah! Platform 16. Right, arriving 1.5 minutes early. Let's get the tail lights on. Tail lights on. All right, welcome to Houston, everybody. Just wait for those passengers to disembark, which they don't seem to be doing. Where have the NPCs gone? Ugh, typical. Service will then be going to Birmingham New Street. Nice. Alright. Lock doors. Gold medal. Huh. Anyway, so yeah, that'll be all for today's episode, everyone. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.